Inside a climate-controlled vault at Yale University sits a book that has humbled some of the world's most brilliant minds. It's a small, quiet-looking object, just 240 pages of stiff calfskin, but within its worn binding lies a mystery that has haunted us for centuries. Its pages are filled with an elegant, flowing script that belongs to no language we know. It's a system of writing that no one, not the master code breakers of World War II, not the NSA, not even our most advanced artificial intelligence, can make any sense of. The book shows us drawings of plants that don't seem to exist, star charts of skies we don't recognize, and bizarre scenes of people bathing in pools of green liquid. For 600 years, this book has held its secrets, a silent challenge that is as fascinating as it is maddening. This is the story of the Voynich Manuscript, the book that nobody on Earth can read. The object itself is a complete enigma. Using radiocarbon dating, we know its vellum pages were made sometime between 1404 and 1438. The ink and paints are the right kind for Europe during the early Renaissance. So, we're pretty sure about the when and the where. But that's where all the certainty ends. The script, which researchers call Voynich, uses about 25 to 30 unique characters, all written from left to right with a smooth, confident hand. There are no obvious corrections, which suggests the writer knew exactly what they were doing. The text is even structured like a real language, with paragraphs and word patterns that pop up in genuine languages. And yet every single attempt to translate it has failed. The mystery only gets deeper when you look at the illustrations. They are colorful, a little crude, and completely bizarre. We see unidentifiable plants with impossible roots, astronomical charts of alien-looking skies, and most famously, a series of drawings of small nude women, often with swollen bellies, connected to a strange network of tubes and pools. It looks like it could be a book about science, or maybe even magic, but its purpose is just as obscure as its language. Today, we're going to follow the incredible journey of this book through history, from the court of a Holy Roman Emperor to a dusty chest in an Italian college. We'll look at the brilliant people who dedicated their lives to solving its puzzle, only to be met with total failure. And we'll explore the biggest theories that try to answer the ultimate questions. Who wrote the Voynich Manuscript? What secrets does it hold? And is it a lost language, a masterfully complex code, or the most successful and elaborate hoax in history? The manuscript's modern story kicks off in 1912. A Polish-American book dealer named Wilfrid Voynich was invited to the Villa Mondragone, a Jesuit college near Rome. The college needed to raise money and wanted to quietly sell off some old books. While digging through a dusty trunk, Voynich found what he called an ugly duckling, a strange book filled with a script he'd never seen. He knew it could be something huge, and having a good eye for value, he bought the manuscript and threw it into the 20th century spotlight. But there was a clue tucked inside the book that pushed its history back much further. It was a letter, dated 1666, from a man in Prague named Johannes Marcus Marci. The letter was written to Athanasius Kircher, a famous Jesuit scholar in Rome, who was known for his work on codes and for claiming he'd deciphered Egyptian hieroglyphs. Marci explained that he was sending Kircher this book, hoping that he, and only he, could finally figure it out. The letter also shared a juicy piece of gossip. The book was once bought by the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II for 600 gold ducats, an incredible fortune. Rudolf, who ruled from Prague, was obsessed with art, strange objects, and the occult. He apparently believed the manuscript was a secret work by Roger Bacon, the legendary 13th century philosopher who was rumored to know all sorts of secrets. So who sold it to the emperor? Voynich himself pushed the theory that it was John Dee, the famous English mathematician and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. Dee spent years in Bohemia and was known to own many of Roger Bacon's works. And there's a compelling clue. Dee's own son later wrote that his father owned a book containing nothing but hieroglyphics that he spent a huge amount of time trying to understand. The link isn't proven, but it adds another layer of mystique to the book's journey. After Emperor Rudolf, the trail gets a bit clearer. Under UV light, you can just make out the faint signature of Jacobus Horsicki de Tepanex, Rudolf's court pharmacist, on the first page. It seems he got the book around 1608. From there, it went to Georg Baresch, a 17th century alchemist in Prague, who was the first person we know of who actually tried to decipher it. Baresch called it a sphinx that was just taking up space in his library, and he was the one who first sent samples of the script to Athanasius Kircher, starting the long tradition of experts being completely stumped. When Baresch died, the book passed to his friend Marcus Marci, who then sent it to Kircher in 1666. And that's where it seems to have disappeared for over 200 years, lost in the Jesuit archives, a forgotten puzzle, waiting in the dark until a book dealer named Voynich opened that dusty chest and started the mystery all over again. To really get why this book has such a grip on people, you have to look inside. It's generally broken down into 6 sections, each defined by its strange and captivating drawings. The first and longest part is the herbal section. It's over 100 pages, and each one has a drawing of a plant. But you won't find these plants in any garden on Earth. A few of them look a bit like real species, but most are total fantasies, combining the roots of one plant with the leaves of another and the flower of something else entirely. Botanists have tried, but they can't definitively identify the vast majority of them. Are they extinct plants, symbolic drawings, or just something from a very creative imagination? Next up is the astronomical section, filled with circular diagrams that look like maps of the heavens. There are suns and moons with human faces and strange arrangements of stars. Some pages might show the zodiac. You can almost make out a bull for Taurus or an archer for Sagittarius. But they're often in a bizarre order or filled with odd details, like nude women climbing out of them. These aren't the star charts of any culture we know. This brings us to what might be the most famous and baffling part of the book, the biological or balneological section. That last word refers to therapeutic bathing, and these pages are packed with drawings of small, naked women. Many have rounded, pregnant-looking bellies. They're shown wading in pools or sitting in strange, tub-like structures, all connected by a network of pipes that look almost like veins or intestines. The liquid they're in is almost always a weird shade of green. What these scenes mean is anyone's guess. Is it about alchemy, women's health, a forgotten bathing ritual? We have no idea. After that is the cosmological section, which has these incredible fold-out pages. They contain massive circular drawings that people think could be maps of unknown lands, galaxies, or even microscopic cells. One of the most famous fold-outs, known as the Rosettes page, shows 9 connected circular islands. One has a drawing of a castle with a very specific feature: swallowtail crenellations. That's a style of architecture found mainly in northern Italy in the 15th century. And it's one of the only real clues that might tie the book's creation to a specific time and place. The 5th section is the pharmaceutical part. Here, the drawings look a little more practical. We see what look like plant parts: leaves, seeds, roots, arranged next to apothecary jars. This section backs up the idea that the book might be some kind of medical guide or a manual for making remedies. Finally, the book ends with the recipes section. This part is almost all text with no major drawings. It's broken into short paragraphs, and each one is marked with a small star-shaped flower. This layout strongly suggests it's a list of instructions, recipes, or maybe even spells. But just like every other word in the book, what it says remains a complete and total secret. The legend of the Voynich Manuscript isn't just about the book itself. It's about the geniuses it has defeated. For over a century, the best minds in linguistics and code-breaking have tried to crack it, and every single one has walked away empty-handed. One of the first big attempts came in the 1920s from a University of Pennsylvania professor named William Romaine Newbold. He was sure he'd found the key. He claimed that every letter in Voynichese was actually a container for microscopic symbols he could only see with a magnifying glass. He argued these tiny marks were a form of ancient Greek shorthand, and he used them to translate passages that proved Roger Bacon wrote the manuscript. His discoveries were sensational, claiming Bacon had invented the telescope and microscope centuries ahead of schedule. But by 1931, the theory was completely debunked. Another researcher showed that the microscopic marks were just random cracks in the old ink. Newbold had seen what he wanted to see. The biggest attack on the manuscript came from the absolute titans of 20th century cryptography, William and Elizabeth Friedman. This husband and wife team were legends. Elizabeth took down mob smugglers during Prohibition by breaking their codes. William's team famously broke Japan's purple cipher during World War II, a breakthrough that helped change the course of the war. If anyone could crack the Voynich manuscript, it was the Friedmans. They spent decades on the puzzle. They painstakingly transcribed the text and used early IBM computers to analyze its patterns. In the end, their conclusion was one of deep frustration. They believed the text wasn't a simple code, but was probably a synthetic or artificial language, a popular hobby for intellectuals in the 17th century. But even with that idea, they couldn't get any meaning out of it. After a lifetime of breaking the most sophisticated military codes on the planet, the Voynich manuscript beat them. Today, the challenge has been passed to computers. Algorithms have confirmed the text has language-like properties, but they can't tell us what it says. Artificial intelligence has also had a go. In 2018, one team claimed their AI identified the language as Hebrew, hidden in anagrams. But linguists quickly pointed out that the methods were shaky and the translations were gibberish. So far, not even AI has been able to find the key to this 600-year-old lock. Since no one can read the book, the door is wide open for theories about what it actually is. Over the years, a few main ideas have taken center stage, each with its own good arguments and its own frustrating problems. First, there's the theory that it's all written in a cipher, a secret code. A simple code, where one symbol equals one letter, was ruled out ages ago. It would be too easy to crack. A more complex idea is that it's a verbose cipher, where each single letter of a real language is replaced by an entire word in Voynich. This would explain some of the text's strange, repetitive patterns, but nobody has ever been able to reverse engineer it. The second big theory is that Voynich is a real, natural language that's simply been lost to history. It could be a language from a remote part of Europe or Asia that was never widely written down and has since gone extinct. This would explain why it looks and feels like a real language. It's a thrilling idea, that the manuscript might be the last surviving record of a forgotten culture. The problem? Without a Rosetta Stone to help translate, it's almost impossible to prove. Then we have the most cynical theory, and for some, the most believable. The Voynich Manuscript is a brilliant, masterful hoax. The idea is that the whole book is just meaningless nonsense, cleverly designed to look like a book of ancient secrets. The motive? Money. A talented forger could have created it to sell to a rich and gullible collector like Emperor Rudolph II. The bizarre plants, and the fact that no one can read it, are points in favor of a hoax. But there's a big problem with that idea. Carbon dating puts the book in the early 1400s, maybe 150 years before Rudolph's time. Plus, creating 240 pages of gibberish that still follows complex statistical rules would have been an incredibly hard job for a medieval forger. A final, more mysterious possibility is that the book is a work of glossolalia, or speaking in tongues, written down. This theory suggests the author was a mystic or a visionary, channeling some kind of divine message in a personal, invented script. The book would be a deeply private document never meant for anyone else to read. This would explain the unique script and the dream-like drawings perfectly. A recent theory from 2024 even suggests it might be a coded manual on sexuality and women's secrets, deliberately hidden to avoid religious punishment. All these theories place its meaning just beyond our reach. A code, a language, a hoax, or a divine vision. After all this time, we are no closer to knowing the truth. The Voynich Manuscript remains a perfect mystery. It's a real object we can touch and analyze. We know what it's made of, but we have absolutely no clue what it means. It has resisted alchemists, emperors, the world's greatest code breakers, and the full power of modern AI. And maybe that's why we're still so obsessed with it. In a world where every answer is just a click away, this book is a humbling reminder that some secrets might just stay secret forever. It's a blank page where we project our own fascination with the past, with codes, and with the limits of what we can know. It is a story not about an answer, but about the incredible, unending thrill of the question itself. It has outsmarted everyone for 600 years, but people are still trying to solve it. What do you think is the secret of the Voynich Manuscript? Is it a real message from the past, just waiting for the right person to unlock it? Or is it a beautiful, unsolvable riddle meant to fascinate us forever? Let us know your theories in the comments. What do you see when you look at its strange pages? If you enjoyed this journey into one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the unknown. Thanks for watching.